to $20,000. The deeper you go, the more expensive it is. In the area in South Africa that I work, it's very hilly, so it's hard to cut through the rock, and we have to use a special Odex drilling. So the cost is anywhere between $4,000 to $20,000 to put the borehole in, and then also please keep in mind to put the pump in, whether it be a hand pump or an electric pump, is a separate fee of about $5,000 to do that part of it. Piping is extra, so once the water well is put in and we extend the pipes to maybe put in a sink, that's another cost, and that's why I kind of developed phases to the Green Hub where each of those things could be funded separately or by different people. Hopefully it answers that question. And then the other question was where I've developed a list of villages in South Africa. There's 750 of them. Wouldn't it be wonderful to reach the millennium goal of having all of those schools, villages have water? But right now I'm working in 8 villages. And I always have a list of who needs water next, and I have a very good relationship in each one of these villages. I'm expanding into Haiti. I told you I'm going to Haiti tomorrow, so we'll start there. I will do my scouting on where to start my hub. I'm moving this hub idea into Ghana, and also have been asked to move it into Zambia. A request to put a hub in Russia to help the orphanages in Russia as well. So I'm taking it one step at a time, but I do have a 3-year business plan in place.
Thank you. So let's take that one step at a time analogy and maybe begin to answer the question which I'm sure is on everyone's mind. What precisely or specifically can be done now? Dr. Njai?
Okay. I know the story that you gave. Well, for some people that do not have, experience in Africa, it may sort of look like, is this real? You know, I mean, how could this be possible? But this is really true, and I'm coming into this country about 2 years now. One of the things I've realized is that I think people don't really realize the level and depth of poverty in the third world. If they had realized, I think a lot more could have been done. And when we talk about the Millennium Development Goals, we're not talking of space tourism. We know the amount of money you're putting in. It could be much, but then the impact it is having is huge. And this is all we are saying in terms of solidarity in the world to solve basic problems that we in the US here take for granted. I'm sure many people would not think that you get up in the morning, you don't even have a meal, you don't have clean water. You know, I'm sure most of those kids you work with, they walk to school barefooted, you know, with no shoes on. So these are basic things that we believe every human being in this world needs to have access to. And looking at the figures, roughly we're talking of $300 million per annum for the next 5 years to achieve the MDGs. I mean, how much money do we spend on ants? In 2008, $1.2 trillion was spent on ants, which is more than double the amount needed to achieve the MDGs. So in terms of what needs to be done, there are a number of things. One, we need to get people aware of the problem, that a problem really exists and something needs to be done. Secondly, people need to know that your little contribution does help. If we had people like you, you know, thousands of them, all over the world, in the next few years, the problem of water, education, sanitation would be solved. And then thirdly, governments themselves need to know that they have a responsibility to their citizens, both in the developed and developing world. I always say governments in developing countries and everywhere else, to get elected, you make a number of promises to people. We'll provide education, we'll provide health, we'll provide this. But when it comes to doing it, we want to shift the responsibility to everybody, to other governments, and say, we did not have the required aid, therefore we're not providing water. That's not an excuse. You know, and this is where civil society and citizens in the developing world also have a big role to play. And as much as we need the support from outside, governments in countries need to take up their responsibilities.
Thank you so much, Osvaldo.
A couple of things. One of which is right now at the UN, the talks on what we're going to do about small arms and light weapons are going on. They've been going on over the first 2 days of this week. And how are we doing on the Millennium Development Goals? The two belong in the same room discussing, but they were in different buildings and they did not talk to each other at all. And when we suggested to the small arms people that maybe they should walk across the yard, they went, oh no, we are here for this. This is the only thing important. So we have a lot to do about getting everyone who's concerned about any part of human well-being talking to each other. The other thing I was going to say, we have to be very careful when we do things, and Helou brought this up in a way. When you come from the United States, even the poorest parts of the U.S., we pretty much have no idea the gap between what we take for granted, what we understand people need, running water, or at least clean water, preferably running next to your home or in your home. The idea that you could walk into 4 rooms in a house and turn on a faucet is beyond many people's in this world comprehension. But what we don't remember, when we go to Nicaragua and put in pipes for water, this is totally foreign concept, and how you take care of that, how you need to take care of it, that the pipes will leak and you need to fix that because water does run out. They all have a dry season, even the wells get pretty low. But you go and you have no idea, people have no idea. You put it in the bathroom and nobody knows what to do with it, so they don't use it. There's a whole education process that goes on, and you don't even know what that process needs to be if you haven't spent some time there. So for everyone who's interested in this, the first few times what you need to do is to go somewhere with people who have been there and just look and learn. There's not very much that you can actually teach that will be useful until you understand the context that you're teaching in.
Thank you so much. Do you have any thoughts? Or please, Dr. Paulson, please.
I wanted to address, someone asked a question on how you could get involved if you wanted to, and I believe my website is on my bio there, and I also have business cards. I am taking groups of people over, arranging for groups of people, but what Kathy Balbo here said is so important. You must be in a village, you must be in a place where relationships have been developed and where you have respect for those people and you've asked them what they want. This is not a charity. The Millennium Goals are not about charity, they're about a plan. And so I think that in respect to them, the community needs to be asked what they want and what they need. And she's so right on that you have to have developed relationships. Africa's like my home, my second home now. I've been working there for 5 years, and it's my second family. So I know of places that are safe. I've set up lodging. You have to know all of those things before you get involved, and you have to have the government and the municipalities behind you 100%. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the panelists and to all of you and to our very diligent timekeeper, and Joanne, David, and of course our host, the African Union. Thank you very much, sir. And at this point, we will have a break for 3 minutes. Okay, a 3-minute break before we move on to the keynote speaker. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Jeffrey Blander. Now, I could spend a long time telling you all about his Harvard degrees, his fellowships and teaching credentials, his positions as chairman of this committee or director of that foundation. But if you were a hungry child, that would not matter to you. What might matter to you if you were a hungry child is that Jeff was orphaned